Well, we have some news that's breaking as of today. As we record this, we did Ghislaine Maxwell yesterday. So today, why don't we do R. Kelly?
Oh, Ghislaine, I spoke to
Mark
about. I didn't get to him on the IVS question, but I got him with the Ghislaine question. So I said, if you got information that's going to help you, and we do have a weird system, which is
the barter system.
You can do whatever you want in life as long as you know someone who's more famous and has done more shit than you've done.
You can trade that in.
You don't have to worry about going to prison. So
let her get out of jail free.
That's nice. You murder as many people as you want, but as long as you're going to turn in the crime boss or the Don, then you can move to Arizona and get a new name. So it's an interesting process.
It is.
Doesn't feel like justice is whoever thought of justice initially conceived of it. But
that's why there's so many plea deals, because it's just now you can say you have a win on the books.
So Maxwell, I said to Mark, why no bringing up the little black book or getting into that? He said, well, first off, you don't play it until you need it. And he said her first case was seemed semi-winnable, so she didn't need to play it. You can play it after it doesn't work out. Also, her chances for a retrial are very strong.
Why?
And to win in a retrial. There's something I forgot about when I was talking about this with him, I don't know, a year ago. One of the jurors came out the video with him and his cat or something. Mark calls him Catman or something. I don't know. Gary will remember it. But this juror came out, seemed like a very affected person, had his cat, and said, listen, I was victimized, sexually when I was younger, and I kind of convinced other jurors to listen to me. Which then
perfect.
That's sort of mistrial stuff there, but it wasn't. But it's
a lot of see good things happening to good people,
right? But there's definitely a very winnable next trial that you can say we want another trial because of this guy, and then you can play that card if the second one doesn't. I guess his description of it is you want to hang on to that
as long
until
as
you really need it. What? You have that vid, Gary, or what was that vid? What's he call that guy? The cat guy?
Mark likes to refer to him as Catman as of recently. I can't remember if there was an original nickname, but I can go find you the pictures. We didn't have a video.
Oh, it was a picture of him, and then he was...
It's a giant cat.
It's a giant cat, and he was explaining... He was converting jurors because he was
Why would he do that? And who picked him for this jury?
They may have taken the cat and he just came along with the cat. I don't know, but there's a picture of him with a giant cat. So anyway, that's what his explanation was.
Satisfying answer. Thank you for asking him. While Gary looks for that, let's talk about R. Kelly. As you know, R&B singer-songwriter, he has been sentenced to 30 years in federal prison following decades of sexual abuse allegations. Assistant U.S. Attorney Elizabeth Geddes said Kelly, who's 55 now, masterminded a scheme to target, groom, and exploit girls, boys, and women. For decades, allegations swirled around the singer, who was previously acquitted in 2008 on the child porn charges. In an indictment following his 2019 arrest, prosecutors alleged that Kelly and his team, that's managers and bodyguards and assistants, traveled throughout the United States and abroad to perform at concerts and recruit women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activity with Kelly. That's as far back as 1999. Here's the best part. According to the indictment, Kelly allegedly required his victims to follow numerous rules in which they weren't permitted to leave their rooms without permission. They weren't allowed to leave their rooms to eat or go to the bathroom. They weren't allowed to look at other men, and they had to call him Kelly Daddy.
You can't leave to go to the bathroom. You got to save them for him.
I know that. I like a lot of control over abroad, like the next guy does. But you'll never go to the bathroom.
I'm fine with
Who does that benefit?
It doesn't benefit us.
I'm a benevolent ruler when it comes to that.
Hey, would you like to have intercourse with essentially a bursting piñata?
But not candy.
Yeah, that ain't a Tootsie Roll.
That's right.
Come on.
So I don't know. I wonder what Mark knows about him.
Remember the joy of when they came out with the giant Tootsie Roll?
My God.
It was like, oh my God, this will last me the whole movie. Not that we could afford to buy it at the theater, but you could
if you
smuggle
were
that in.
able to.
Also, Tootsie Rolls suck.
Yeah, they're pretty
Yes.
lame candy.
They're pretty. They're filed under the weird novelty, chalky, gristly, kind of
Like, is it
shiny, kind of
chocolate?
weird. Like just
Makes you salivate.
Give me some nuts. Give me some nougat. Give me some peanut butter. Some
Yeah.
caramel. That
And
we're
good.
we're
done.
covered.
Also, I know one person who made Tootsie Rolls palatable by roasting them in the fire so they get crackly. And I was
really?
like, well, that's pretty good. But otherwise, yeah, they're terrible.
Juror Scott David. We have the
Catman.
picture of him.
Let's see
and his,
Catman. Whoa, that's
It's a lynx.
Persian. Yeah,
That's a 30-pound
Russian-
cat.
that's a big cat.
Yeah.
I like that cat. So
Yeah.
this guy, he somehow got on the jury, even though I'm sure they asked them directly, had you ever been?
I guess, and then somehow
Wow.
I don't know if he
Okay.
tweeted about it. I don't know if he did an interview, but he kind of tainted the trial. So
Cat, man.
anyway,
That's a big cat.
yeah. Look, I've said a million times, if you're a celeb, we always talk about, what'll ruin you in this town, putting weight on or getting into drugs or getting into alcoholism
Giant
or whatever.
cats.
Giant cats. Just a sexual thing that is different than what we
What we're down with.
deem acceptable, and a kind of an unyielding 24/7, it's just, I need this thing, that you want to talk about ruining a career.
Yeah.
First off, talk about the
He has
distraction.
all the incentive in the world to not pursue that interest.
I have two words for
Right.
you. Army Hammer.
Yeah.
Where is he now?
First
Possibly
off,
in a-
it's hard to even know what it is with some of these people.
Yeah.
But, it's like Bryan Cranston, married to the same woman for 31 years and free to get on with his career. You know what I mean?
He has a new movie with Annette Bening.
Yeah, maybe, okay. Maybe he'd like to bang a 19-year-old cocktail waitress.
Among Us.
I get it.
Sure.
But
He weighs the cost-benefit analysis.
slow and steady wins the race.
Right.
And they've been together for Cranston's wife, 35 years. But thus you get the body of work.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can go to Toronto for 3 weeks and not go insane or have to go out and, hit the streets at
Right.
night and get
It can be
call
done.
girls and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you have that urge, especially when it's bizarre.
Yeah.
You kind of done.
Yeah.
It'll catch up with you fast.
Yeah.
The more you know. Let's check in on this surprise January 6th hearing that convened with 24 hours notice because they had things to say. The House Select Committee investigating the events around January 6th held its sixth public hearing this week, focusing on testimony from former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson, who, by the way, is like 26 years old.
Very young.
Yeah.
I know.
The panel had been abruptly scheduled and given about 24 hours notice. Hutchinson is the first former staff member from the Trump White House to publicly testify as part of the probe and worked as a special assistant to former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. So some of the key exchanges, Hutchinson claimed the president was aware of a number of attendees in the crowd who were armed and wearing body armor and brought in all kinds of stuff, didn't want those metal detectors there. And I believe she said that he said, which I think tracks, like, get the metal the mags, get the metal detectors out of there. The place doesn't look full enough, which I think we can probably imagine him saying. But there's a couple things that are refuted.
I was listening to a former presidential guard. Screw the name.
The Secret Service?
Secret Service. I don't know why. The Secret Service person, and he said this happens quite a bit where the magnetometer, they can handle about like 400 people an hour or something passing through it.
Right.
You're doing some event at the mega center and the place is half full. And many politicians, because this guy was with, I think he was with Clinton. No, he was with Obama, and then he was with Bush. He said the aides will say, can we just push them through? Can we just get rid of the magnetometer and fill this place up?
Right.
It's
Well,
a
there's
fairly
bottlenecks otherwise.
it's a fairly common thing for
Right.
the person that's like, if I was doing a show and the place was half full, I'd be like, just let them
in.
let them in because I want to play to a full house.
Well, it's interesting, too, the inflection, the emphasis you put on which syllable, because I was listening to this thing about it on, after I watched it on some news podcast, and she said that he said, get rid of those, whatever, and they said, well, sir, they have weapons. And he said, well, let them through. They're not here to hurt me. But when it was replayed, when they were talking about it,
They're not
they
here
said,
to hurt
and
me.
she said, exactly, they're not here to hurt me,
Yeah.
which is a very different statement, obviously. Separately, she also relayed an incident in which the former president believed he would be transported to the Capitol, and apparently he really wanted to get down there, but was ultimately prevented by the Secret Service. She says that she was told that Trump grabbed the steering wheel and then reached for the guy's throat, essentially, but there are a few people refuting that, and she said, that's just what I was told.
Well, I was talking to Mark about this, and he doesn't like these kind of things because he wants to cross-examine everybody.
Right.
He doesn't like a world where you get just to
Just make
say
a
stuff and then you
statement
go home. He's like, were you in that limo? It would be my first question is a cross-examination.
Yeah, she said she wasn't.
And then we'll start picking it apart. So I've heard a few things. No doubt I'm sure Trump wanted to go there. The reaching through and grabbing the steering wheel sounds pretty dubious, but the two Secret Service guys who were on that detail said, we will speak under oath
Yes.
to this, that he did not do that. Now, if you're actually running a committee that's trying to get to the bottom of whatever, then you would happily talk to
Sure,
those
of
two.
course.
I do not think we're going to hear from those
That would be
guys.
so dumb because the whole point of this was, oh my God, we have a fly on the wall and we can actually find out what people were doing, what they were saying, what they were thinking. So if you wouldn't want to get the head of the Secret Service, I don't really know what you're doing.
Well, there's people they don't want to hear from. They don't want to hear from Nancy Pelosi, who is sort of ultimately has the decision making as far as security, or Mayor Bowser, who's the mayor of D.C. They're not asking them questions. They're not going to talk to the Secret Service guys who say this didn't happen. So they're sort of picking at things with a narrative, which then they're losing some of their credibility, because if the mission statement is let's get to the bottom of this, then let's get to
By
the
all
bottom of
means,
it.
yeah.
But the mission statement is we don't want Trump running in 2024.
Well, someone who I don't know why he would do it, but if the person now I want to talk to more than anyone is the lead legal counsel, because they were talking a lot about him, like him saying, you got to stop this. This is effing crazy. This is going to be lawsuits from here to the next 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's who I'd want to talk to. But I can't believe I didn't know this. Tell me if you knew this. I at least finally got to figure out or got to hear what Trump's call sign is.
Oh.
It's like Golden Eagle or.
Yeah.
Do you know what his is?
No.
It's perfect. Mogul.
Oh.
Mogul's on the move.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's mogul. So, well, I don't know. I mean, I think they're coming back after 4th of July, and they're supposed to have another sort of bombshell question mark?
Yeah, the other thing, we're living in this weird world where it's like magnetometer, guns. We are told guns and guns. How many shots were fired? And the answer is 0. Actually, one shot was fired.
The other
it was
way.
a Capitol policeman
Yeah.
shooting a chick in the face.
Right.
So one shot. So like you can make all you want out of everything, and it's something. But if nobody fired a shot at either the rally, the march, or inside the Capitol, it's
worth noting.
a soft ending to
Right.
a hard beginning.
Right.
You know.
It doesn't seem like you've been affected by this, but I know tons of people who have lately. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And now I have an answer. Have you been flying Delta? You got back here, so I'm assuming not. Because boy, have they been canceling flights right and left.
We've flown, I don't know, Chris, what have we flown? We've flown Southwest.
flew Southwest
Oh, right,
and
okay.
maybe Delta the last. I don't know if we
Well,
flew it the last time or whatever.
Nobody's getting anywhere these days with Delta, and hundreds of off-duty Delta Airlines pilots plan to picket this week, demanding a pay increase and that the carrier change their schedules to reduce these flight disruptions. The Airline Pilots Association said in a statement of nearly 14,000 members that they're working longer hours, flights are always being canceled. Jason Ambrosi, he's a union official and Delta pilot. He said the perfect storm is occurring. Demand is back. Pilots are flying record amounts of overtime, but are still seeing our customers being stranded and their holiday plans ruined.
Commercial airline pilot used to be the go-to cool job.
Of course,
if you
sexy.
knew somebody who was a commercial airline
Sure.
pilot, if it's a sitcom or a movie, he was
Mm-hmm.
good looking, got the chicks.
Oh, yeah.
No one
Flanked
knew.
by the flight
stewardesses.
attendants,
We
right?
didn't know how much he made, but we assume he
No.
was very well
Oh,
compensated.
very well to do.
And you could have, if you're doing a movie. That guy could drive a Rolls Royce to his home in Beverly Hills. Like, he's a pilot.
Yeah,
you
we'd
know?
buy it.
Sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did Southwest ruin that for everybody? Like the cachet?
The economy flying.
Yeah.
Regional airlines.
And then Frontier and Spirit buried
yeah,
it.
just kind of.
Do you know the age that you, no matter what, have to retire as a
It's
pilot?
early, right? Like
65?
65.
65. So this is what's happening with the labor shortage, because I was very curious. So during the pandemic, we know thousands of pilots were laid off, given early retirement packages, furloughed, and now they don't want to come back or they aged out. Then there was this looming pilot shortage.
Get back to work,
Please.
you pussies.
Yes,
Come on.
back.
And by 2029, no baby boomers will be able to fly because they'll all be older than 65. So they're trying to change that to 67. They're cutting a few edges. They're trying to, you don't have to have quite as many hours in the sky.
Look, I would be perfectly happy with 70s the cutoff as someone, because people are healthier, they live longer, blah, blah, blah. Also, I think it's, Chris, you can look. I don't know if it's American, maybe it's Delta, but American also, I think it was American that did this thing. It's like by 2030, half the pilots are going to be people of color or women. Like they made some big
proclamation.
They made one of those, Los Angeles or California is going to be half electric cars by 4 years from now. Like, okay, good fucking luck with that.
It was United.
Oh,
They'll train 5,000 pilots, and by 2030, half will be women or minorities.
Okay.
Or just the most skilled people who really want to do it the most.
Can land a plane.
Yeah.
Do you want Kamala Harris, the pilot version of Kamala Harris up in that cockpit? Or can we just get the folks that flew in the Navy, men or women, black or white, and just get the good ones?
It'd be nice.
They're going to have to drop this if this shit's coming because it's just too ambitious.
Well,
but anyway.
And maybe that's their way of spinning it. Like, we don't have enough pilots. Let's appeal to people who generally aren't pilots and look like heroes in the process.
It's always an interesting thing where we go, we need more this of that. This group needs to be more involved with that. Certain cultures, men, women, whatever, they gravitate towards certain jobs, and there's just more of them who want to do this kind of jobs. Like when, I don't know, it was some study out of Sweden again, I think, who just did a thing where it's like, we're not going to do any more of this. We're going to step back and see who goes this way. And more women go into school teaching and nursing and more men go into engineering. And it's just like how we roll.
Self-selecting samples.
Yeah, but we don't like Sweden anymore.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Screw Sweden.
Yeah.
We have an update on the grandmother of the Uvalde shooter, and I think it's worth noting.
The one who was shot?
Yes, in the face. She's alive.
Oh, shit.
And she's been discharged from the hospital after more than a month of treatment. The shooter is accused of shooting his grandmother, who was 66, in the face at her home, then driving, to rob elementary school and,
Do
getting.
we know he shot her?
You know what?
We have a witness.
Perhaps. Actually, we do, and I'm
do?
glad you asked.
Is it
Because
a
I'm
30-pound cat?
saying if Sonny ever goes on a spree, I'm going to go find a pistol to shoot myself in the thigh
Yeah.
and then just lay down.
That's smart.
In the corner of my bedroom and go, God, I
went
was his
crazy.
first victim. I can't control the boy.
It depends on your neighbors, because a neighbor who lived across the street from where the shooter shot his grandmother claimed that the woman came running out of her home covered in blood saying, "Look what he did to me." And the neighbor says, even though she didn't say who he was, at that point, they
He's
were
known
pretty
in the
sure.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
He's known to the neighbors.
Right, who he is.
Oh, man.
So she is out of the hospital. And just as a side note, and this is unfortunately to say typical, Robb Elementary School is being demolished. The mayor said at a city council meeting, you can't ask a child to go back or a teacher to go back in that school. Other sites like Sandy Hook.
Also, like single story, cinder block, 1950s
Time for an
construction.
upgrade.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
Now, God, what was the first big one?
Sandy Hook?
Columbine.
Columbine. That place was a palace.
Yeah, it was
They
a
didn't-
nice school.
They
Yeah.
didn't demolish that one, did they?
I don't know. That's in Colorado. Why don't you go by and find
That's
out?
a Littleton.
Chris wanted
I think
to
it
go.
was just the library. Remember, I want. yeah.
It almost slipped
That was my
by you.
one
He
request.
he was kind of like touching himself a little bit. He was kind of rubbing his groin. He was
Jesus.
going like, "Come on!" He went full Trump. He grabbed the wheel for Mike. He was like,
Yeah.
"Colin,
Jesus.
turn
Lunge.
off here."
Chris, what's wrong with you?
I really want to see
It's
it.
just kind of weird wearing black fingernail polish and
honestly-
behind the wheel.
As
That's
his
alarming.
boss, you might want to get him some help, or you'll be
Yeah,
liable
this
if
is
he
gonna
does
come down
something
to you,
crazy.
buddy.
Yeah, I said, let's just go to Red Rocks. And he's like, okay.
Those rocks will be red, all
I don't
right.
know, you guys,
Oh,
are you not
right.
horny? And that, I brushed it off at the time, but
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Looking
retrospect,
back,
yeah.
yeah.
And we passed by John Benet's house.
Jesus
What was this?
Christ.
Some sort of serial killer tour?
That was Mike August's macabre tour because he's from.
He spent a lot of time there.
That was
yeah.
his ghoulish tour.
I thought he was in Louisiana.
He spent a lot of
He
time in
claimed-
In New York.
Colorado.
Okay.
He spent a lot of time in Colorado, and he's telling us about the Flatiron Mountain Range, which he never stops talking about, but he's proud of it. And then he talks about this, and then at some point we're in Boulder. I think he was pointing at John Benet's.
Oh, look who's here!
Hey. John, I mean,
Jean Benet
Mike,
August.
John Benet's house is Boulder.
John Benet's house, or former house, is Boulder, yes.
Okay.
Why?
We just
Apparently, you took them on a tour.
Yes, from John Benet's house. We did the whole tour.
Now, what did you tell them? Because, quote unquote, the jury's still out on her murder,
Right,
even though we
right.
kind of know the family wasn't a fan.
Do we know who is the...
Well, they're talking about between the parents and the brother.
I know, like he was, what, 8?
Yeah, but that family was not functional.
Well, the weird thing is, like, who's dead, the mother or the father?
I don't know. I got to look.
I think the mother is dead.
I don't
the
keep
mother
up like
may have
you.
died.
So
yeah.
the dad and the son are the only keepers of the Jean Benet secret.
Oh,
now.
boy.
Mm-hmm.
What's it going to take?
fucking
To
ghoulish.
talk.
Seriously.
Somebody killed that kid.
It's weird that
New
we
murder
never
crime podcast
figured
with
it out.
Yeah.
Well, the people who know,
Yeah.
Come on,
I
it's
think
the
we
family.
I think we all know, but
who's got a vendetta against a 6-year-old beauty pageant queen?
that's right.
You should have.
Did she screw somebody in a card game?
We gotta have a spin-off
Drug deal gone
podcast.
wrong.
August hosts a true crime podcast. Light on detail, but thick
I'd be
on
the worst.
passion.
I'd be the worst.
this
It's
would
like,
be a
no, the
point of
family
listening.
did it. The family always does
It would be called Murder in August.
Exactly.
Did they? What about the story of the girl that was abducted by like the handyman and lived out in the woods?
That's Elizabeth Smart, right?
Was that Colorado
That
too?
that was Utah.
Why didn't we drive out there?
Oh,
That was where
next on the
Elizabeth
tour.
Smart
Then we
was.
could go up to where was the Unabomber? We can hit him on the way back
Alaska?
His shack.
home. Kaczynski.
Yeah.
And don't
Kaczynski.
forget, was it Ariel Castillo who had all those girls in the basement in Ohio? You could do a whole
Oh
tour.
yeah. Come on,
Yeah.
Mike.
God, I gotta start booking us around these fantastic murder stories.
Jesus.
They're so uplifting and fun. Well, I came in halfway. Why? What's the problem with Boulder now? Just-
No, he loves it. He loves Colorado.
he should.
I love it.
There's nothing
what,
not to love.
What years were you there from?
Oh God. Let's see. From the age of 6 to like 13.
Oh,
Yeah, 7.
Formative years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the formative years.
Because your dad was coaching.
He's coaching at the University of Colorado, so we get to live in Boulder when it was
Damn.
still reasonably fun to live in Boulder.
Yeah.
You know, I can even tell you this, because Boulder was ruined by the hippies. They came in the 60s. They never left. They overregulated the place. They pushed all the businesses out.
When were you
We
there?
went to lunch last Friday. We were in Boulder, right? We parked the car downtown Boulder. We go over to the mall or the open street place, have lunch. We put 2 hours on the meter. And I said to Adam, you know what? I got to get back because I know we're going to get a ticket. And he's like, don't worry about it. We got time. Of course, we come back. 15 minutes late, there's a ticket on the car, right? I pulled the ticket off, whatever. So I go to pay it this week, and there's 2 tickets. I'm like, 2? Is it double? Did they make a mistake? Oh, no. I got the overtime ticket, and I got another ticket for the same amount for angled parking.
What? Like not
Angled
not
parking.
turning your steering wheel?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
bet
don't
it's because
care.
I bet it's because he backed in. to
Doesn't
it.
matter.
Oy
That's what
vey.
happens when a city goes bad. That
Yes.
They're going to double down on the ticket rate because they won't allow a business to come in the city and actually do
Right.
business. The houses are 1,000,000 years old.
Yes.
I mean, this is what happens.
They got to rape the
They ruin a
citizens.
place.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. We'll,
Can I rant about Boulder some more?
No.
Please.
Let's bring it home.
Okay.
Gina Grad.
I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
All right, Indianapolis. See what child died there, Gina, and maybe
Jesus
Mike.
Christ.
We can swing by. Oh, wait a minute! I got the wrong.
So that's the wrong.
I
That's
got the wrong
screen,
one up
yeah.
there. I knew that was wrong. We're coming to Missouri, right?
Springfield, yeah.
Springfield. That's right. Springfield, Missouri. Blue Room Comedy Club. That'll be July 15th, 16th. You can go to mcroll.com. We're doing Mic Drop Comedy October 28th, 29th, by the way, in San Diego. And you can pre-order my book, Everything Reminds Me of Something, out July 19th. SkyDimePro.com for all that. And until next time, Sam Carolla for Lior Sapir, I should say, and Gina Grad and Bald Brian saying mahalo.